Good evening, all. Keep that. How are we doing tonight, bud? I guess I can live with that. Alrighty. We're gonna do some simple-minded stuff tonight. Oh, how young are you? How you feel? 71. Oh, you got a few years on me then. My wife would probably agree with that statement. You got a few on me there too. We're just coming up on 40, but yeah, without a doubt. Better stop and look at something before you get carried away. This is going to be a honey dipper. We're going to need some going up through the lid. Somewhere up there. Now, I'll be able to see that now. Did you get much ice out of the storm last night? Okay. So, somewhere there. Careful, careful. Well, no, yeah, we got a fair amount of ice here. Well, Merry Christmas to you too, Ken. Yeah. Isn't it though? I guess I could pay attention to more of the camera so you can see more of what we're doing, but yeah. Yes, we are. We are in the retired life, I guess you'd say. Um, mhm. Did you do anything special today since it was your birthday, Al? Mm, it's always the adventure in making something you don't normally make. Looks like it's entirely too big and fat. This is gonna go down in the jar. I guess not. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. What's the weather doing at the Eagles game? My neighbor went up there to the game. He's actually from New York. So we need some V-grids. There, 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 there. Oh, yeah, yeah. The neighbor's an Eagle fan, and he's also from New York. Has some relatives over in the Buffalo area, and one of them, the wife, is pregnant by like 8 months or something or other, and she decided she didn't want to go to the football game. Ah, so she gave him, or she was giving them, letting him use her season ticket to go to the game with, I guess, her husband. I'm like, good luck. Hope you don't freeze your ass off too bad. I don't know which would be worse up there. I think I'd rather sit in a stadium like that and have it snowing on me rather than rain, for sure. It's absolutely crazy how much they get to go to one of them games, though. He was telling us that, even she has some sort of season tickets or something or other, and it's still like $70 or something stupid like that to go to that game. And I'm like, well, better you than me, because not really much of a football fan to start with. Let's do something different there. Especially to go and sit in the rain and watch a football game. No, thank you. Don't get that down too thin. I lose all my support. Yes, I can. That part, I guess, can be pretty thin. This is what you call design on the fly. This is also the people at Woodcraft decided I should, since the classes are going so well. Oh, okay. I don't want it to bottom out. It looks all right, I think. And their bright idea was to have a multi-day kind of class. So this is one of the simple projects in the really geared towards learning the turn period. That needs to be 3/8. And this is just, I mean, it's a very simple kind of a turning. So that not bottoming out. So that's the top of the lid. There. It'd be a whole lot easier to make these and not have to mess around with doing that part, but let's see. I do have, if only I knew what hole I actually drilled, or what drill bit I drilled with it. Grab that. Now I'm going to drill it with a Forstner drill bit, so we'll just kind of set it to that one. Maybe just can always take a little bit off of that, maybe somehow. So I think we'll set that. Set that depth out here, the end of it. And that should be that. That sounds like a good idea to me. Like I say, I'm not a designer of such things, but yeah, that would make sense. It all runs downhill. So that's down to about 3/8 there now. It's down about small enough. Yeah, cool. This is a honey dipper, a little jar that I keep going back to. This was something I looked at doing some a really long time ago. Thought it looked like a good idea, and it just never. I guess it's kind of like I never really pursued it any further for whatever reason. But if now, if I'm going to incorporate it into a class, why it always looks better if I have an idea of what we're doing other than just trying to teach somebody to turn, which is what these classes are designed to do, rather than rather than them just showing up and saying, okay, they're gonna turn a bowl or they're gonna turn something, an object. This class is designed to teach them some, try and teach them something. There's going to be 4 classes, 4 day or 2 days one week, and two. It's all going to be done in evenings during the week, even. So this is one of them. Actually, the other thing I'm going to do tonight, I need to make a new mallet for home for banging the drive centers and stuff like that in anyhow. But that's another one of the projects. Yeah, it's going to go inside the jar. There's already a lid made for it. I don't. I have a piece of wood actually to make a new lid for it because I don't necessarily like the lid. I feel it's a little bit too big. But we'll see what it looks like. So the honey dipper shell might as well have a beeswax finish on it, right? That's just the way I looked at it. Nice thick layer of beeswax. The thing is, I don't do the Richard Rassin routine of. Oh, now I'm too late for that. They're just pretty much a V groove. They do have a little bit of a down slope to them. Didn't necessarily do a very good job getting down in the groove. A little hard when I don't really have something to get in that groove. I guess this one's a really soft one. Trim my fingernails just the other day. Now I can't get in the groove. There we go. I got one last look. See where we're at. I think I'm gonna bring that pin in. Bring that back a little bit further. I definitely don't want that to touch the bottom. Yeah. Call it good enough. Might as well take this down. And then doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of getting a little bit out of the road. As you see, if I push hard enough, it bounces. So it's getting to the point where it's going to come off on its own. Here's where we get to. Here's where we could totally mess it up. And rather than doing that, you're gonna have to sand that end a little bit. Certain things I don't necessarily trust myself doing with the skew, and that is getting in. I didn't really leave I should have left myself more room down here. One tiny little cut with a saw and it's broke free in two pieces. So, just hold it here. I'll slice that off, and I'm sure it'll be too long. It's always the way things go. So now, widen that a bit. So hopefully that was 3/8 of an inch up through there. Maybe I should have measured that a little bit better. Definitely a snug fit through that. That's okay. Of course. Oh, shoot. I was afraid of. That's still, that one thing's going to be too long. I got a sand up bottom, so we're going to take some off of that. Otherwise, it's going to be a start over kind of project. Them dumb jars have a hump in the middle, and there's a little bit of a hump on the end of that too, which isn't helping either. So we'll just sand a bit of a flat on the bottom of it. See if that gets me away from it. Oh, now I'll knock them corners off of that. That's why I didn't want to go up through the lid. Not to mention, it is definitely tight going through that hole in the lid, which is good. That's kind of what I would want. I would want it to be tight. Dirty little bugger. It's still too long. Looks like we should have made the whole shaft that length. Hmm. Now, the fun part. Fun part says, did we just make a new one? Or, or. I have my doubts on success. Maybe. Problem is, I know what jaws I have. One that's a shark jaw, so they don't go down real far. Grab that one. Let's try that. If I can get a hold of it, I don't need one nowhere near that big and thick, but I need one that's going to go in those jaws. Problem lies is really kind of thin ones. I don't kind of quit keeping them. Perfect. It'll work. And 3/8 inch drill. Almost like too much work for what we're getting. But it's also, in some ways, a bit of a learning opportunity. That's what wood turning is really all about, is to learn how to fix your mistakes. Now this will probably be a good deal. I stopped just short. So, I think that might do me, maybe. I guess it won't matter if I put a teeny tiny little hole in the center of it. Kind of surprising that it don't sit a little bit better centered in there than what it does, but I don't think it's not going to know any different. Just poke a little pinhole in the bottom. Won't matter whether it's spinning true or not. Maybe. Hopefully. That sounds like a plan anyhow. I'm going to spin it not very fast. The point's barely holding anything. Now it doesn't hit. That's what we wanted. I guess the next problem, well, that's not very much of a problem. When it's upright like that, it has enough slop in there that it's wobbling around. So I think gluing the top piece on, because this goes into a lid yet. Everything's a little snug. Let's see if it's too snug to even go in there. Yes. That is a pain in the ass. But it's not the end of the world. We just take it and take our sandpaper and wrap it around. Could actually have some much coarser sandpaper than 180, but it really doesn't take much, usually. Okay, so that's at least a solid 1/4 of an inch too long. It's smarter if I actually marked it. I go in there and mark that a little bit. I'm probably going to try and redo this lid a little bit too, because I think it's a little too fat. Of course, I guess there'd be another way of doing that, rather than guessing so much. I did buy a little pair of depth gauge. I think that's what they actually called it on Amazon. It's a depth gauge. So we need to have 6 hands to try and hold this all. We're not going to go for the gusto. We're going to go a little shy. That. That's definitely not going to go down the path of, do I cut a perfectly straight line? The answer to that is generally no. Well, these little Japanese pull saws, though, they actually will cut pretty straight. Pretty straight. Not really. Get rid of the corner. I take a little bit more off of it. Now see if it fits. Now it fits. Snug as a bug. Wonders never cease to amaze. Now I'm about 1/8 of an inch off the bottom, which is probably, I would say, is about where it should be. Not that I know what I'm doing, but sounds like a plan. Like I say, the rim of this is a little bit not to my liking. So we're going to try and do a redesign on it. Just in this outside rim, the part where I got to be very, very careful is I'm just going to remove some of this, make this a little, give me a little flat and just curve it a little bit, because right up in this area here, somewhere up in there, where it curves around and meets the top, that's already thin. So I can't afford to take much material off of that, for sure. So we'll just be nice and gentle. Use our spindle gouge and nice, neat little cut. Amazingly enough, it actually still spins true. Because right in that area, I do have a lot of room. A fair amount of room anyhow. It's just when it goes up with, and people just never give up on Twitch. Always somebody trying to fast talk you into doing something stupid. I think that's a better shape. It's not so bulgy right there. Still could go smaller though, I think. Can't anymore and create some designer firewood. I think at that point, I think that's a good place to quit while you're ahead. Try not to hit the chuck with my fingers. This is the sort of challenge part there. Blend them two together a bit. Whole thing a little bit of a sand because it sat around here for who knows how long. Probably years actually. Let me see how them set right there. We can go there. Not that it's very exciting to watch somebody sand something, but it's kind of all part of the process. Definitely don't want to get my fingers in there too far and get up against those jaws. They are the sharp jaws, and they're actually very sharp on that edge. So it would not feel very nice. As it could have given it a couple little V-grooves or something in here, just to make it look different. They certainly certainly not a very pretty piece. Okay. Get off some of the dirt. Use the one that's nice and soft. A bit more speed so the wax melts. And I guess we'll have to do that edge by hand. Get the excess off. This is what I do in the classes too. This one's actually softer, more mineral oil in this one than the one I would use in the classes. But this is mainly what we turn in classes is cherry. So as you can see, it kind of goes from plain to interesting in a bit of a quick fashion. Super simple, and they get to go home with something that's sort of finished. So we just take the same beeswax and just go over that rim a little bit. I try not to lay that on the bed of the lathe though. The stuff's sticky. So I needed to do the bottom of the dipper too. So anyway, just rub a little bit on the end. Just rub it in. Teeny tiny little point. That live center there that I was using has an extremely small point. You'd be hard pressed right now to even find where that little point's at. So that'll just need a bit of glue on it. Maybe try and make it look a little scarier than what it does. One simple little honey dipper. Once this dries that stuff will just soak in and dry, or set it sort of dry. I can go back in and buff on a coat of carnauba wax. Actually, in the fashion that it is right now, I could probably do that now, at least on the lid. While we're at it, I think the one I used right there, I don't think that one. I made up a couple different ones. Some of them have some carnauba wax in them, just to help it give it a little bit more shine. A little more shine, a little bit more of another little bit of a layer of protection. A little bit maybe a dust resistance. I think we're going to call that a done project. Don't really use honey, so I would assume that should work. Little glass jar, a little decorative, something a little bit different. We'll do one more honey dipper. Actually, and this one won't need to be fitting it in something, so this will just be a dipper and a handle. And there again, I really don't know how long they should be. Starting out at about 7 inches. Whether that's too big, too small, don't really know. This would be another good place to use this to work on hue control. Not quite. A little bit down here. This time we're going to give ourselves some room down here to work. I like to go a little bit bigger than that yet. Probably. There's a little bit of diameter. I'll give it a check because this piece I saw had some little like grain cracks. Yep, they're still there. We're going to go further down than that. There's little dark streaks going across there. That's little cracks in this. So we got to get below them for sure. Really would have helped if I'd have marked where the end of them were. The end is up in here. Maybe we want to do this the other way around. Let's just take it down, I guess. Mark where that's at. So we know where we're going to. Let's say they're still there. Tiny bit. Might as well have a little taper to it too. Let's get rid of all the cracks. So this will make this just sort of into a kind of a concentric cylinder up to there. It's 3/4. No idea how long they should be. Let's say it's going to be 2 inches long. I don't know. Guess one should actually do a little research on something like this. I don't know that you can make one of these wrong. You start by making a V cut so we have clearance there. Probably, I think the ones I've ever seen were like a sort of dome shape, so should be doing that with the spindle gouge because that's what they'll be doing it with. Probably be easier to do it with the spindle gouge anyhow. It's sort of a little bit of a torpedo shape maybe. I don't know. A little bit more of an abrupt curve. Play around down here long enough, I'll get it thin and won't be able to do the other end. I think that's going to be it. So, one V groove, two V groove. More productive to do all the one side, go back and do the other side. Guess if you really wanted to be fancy about this, rather than putting V grooves in, you could probably make them into little beads. It'd probably look neat too. I don't know why you talk yourself into making it harder. Not real consistent on the bead, that's for sure. But I'm not going to mess too much with that. That's a little bit of sanding across the top of them. Probably in all reality, it should actually probably mark them so that they were more consistent. Once again, we're going to leave ourselves some room. Cut this off. We have a ton of material that we don't need. There was an area that had a chip or probably had a crack in it because there was a little chip. Yep, right there it is. Come on. It's not doing a very nice job either. Not being very kind to it. Need to be further up on the wing. This basically would be almost like a skew that doesn't grab. See whether that took care of that. Not really. But we'll fix it as usual. So I guess we could be sort of scientific about that part. Let's say it's just shy of 4. Let's go just shy of 2. Would be about the center point of that. Somewhere back here, back about here. Kind of want to round over. Maybe even do Indeed. See you, Kenny. Have a good New Year's. You won't see that chat right there from him. That's actually on Twitch rather than YouTube. I'm definitely not smart enough to know how to actually show the chat for both of them. Got a little picked up grain there. So be a little bit more kind to it. A little grain going the wrong direction, I think. Dang. Still picking it up. A little bit of a dang. A little bit of a sap. Yeah. Cherry gets some of these sap lines and you can feel that one. Let's try something different. Go the other direction. It's also starting to get thin enough and I'm pushing a little bit too hard. I'm getting some chatter lines in it. They come out easy enough with sanding, but much better off if you don't have them in. I think I'll switch over to my smaller spindle gouge and we'll shrink this bead down a little bit. At least straighten it up. Make it clean and crisp into the corner where it should be. Get it down to a smaller diameter. Maybe I should turn the dust collector on. Certainly no shame in if the bead isn't quite what you the shape that you want. Would be to sand it round a little bit rounder than what you had it. It's nice when you don't have to, but to me, it's one of them situations of do what you need to do to make the project right, or at least to make it to your satisfaction. I still feel that little bit of a sap line. Pop a little piece out of it, but not somebody I wanted to talk to. 320 is more than enough for that, I would say. Clean off the dust. No sense burying the dust into it. And we can take this end down a little bit more. Since everything else is sanding. Still seem to be getting this end down here rather pointy for some reason. Yeah, that's better. A little touch up there with the sandpaper. That right there was actually, in all reality, was cut clean enough that sanding is just disturbing that surface. So I don't need the dust collector for this. And we'll go back to our beeswax. Get some to go in the grooves this time. There we go. Sort of good enough to me. This time we should be able to, because the spindle guide's right in the skew, I should be able to cut off down here. Since this time we left enough room to do so. Are they doing? Are they going to do something this Wednesday? Actually, I won't be there. I'll be away. Because Wednesday will actually be New Year's Eve, so I won't be there on Wednesday. You can share it for me. How's that? Yeah. All we have left. Touch up the ends. Cut that one off first, I guess. I didn't cut that off. Yeah, as far as I know, we're going over to the neighbors to play games for New Year's. Not that it's overly exciting, but you know that drill. It keeps the boss happy. Gotta go with that philosophy, a happy wife, happy life, you know? I guess actually, in all reality, on something like this, hindsight says that if I'd have had the other jaws in the chuck, I could have grabbed that one end of it in the chuck rather than doing it between centers. Oh yeah, yeah. The old happy wife, happy life. You know. Although it's give and take, she puts up with my crap. So I drug her into the great outdoors this morning to go and shoot around a sporting clay. So there we go. I don't know if that's. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to Google that tonight. See what people are what for shapes people are making out of them with them. As far as I'd be concerned, it's another one of them things of do whatever you want. I would think there's no real wrong shape. I wouldn't think. We'll go to something a little more substantial. I need to make a. Oh, actually, mallet's another one of the subjects, and I could use a new one for banging in the drive centers. Bigger tool rest. This is a piece of ash. It's dry. It's been around since 4 of 16, so it's plenty dry. This is some stuff that was cut from a log. And of course left to dry. You're gonna have to widen out a bit here. I'll move over a little bit. That's right. That's right. I like your philosophy on that. I'll leave the speed slow. It's definitely dry. It's going to be dusty. So this is our model piece. It's made for my hand, so we're going to call that the end. And we'll put a bead on it somewhere down in about there. Mainly I'm interested in that one. Gonna leave it the diameter it is for now. Probably even when I finish it, it'll probably be that diameter. That pencil. Yeah. Anything I'm probably gonna do down here, I'm gonna probably go in there with the spindle gouge and cut down close to the drive center for now and get it flat because it sits upright generally, so that way it doesn't roll off the workbench. We'll go ahead and mark this here. And spindle gouge. Come on. I always find if I give it a little chamfer, should be able to pick and cut it anyhow. One, two straight. I'm not left-handed for one. Get it started right-handed. Tiny bit of an undercut. Should work well enough. I'll get a smoother cut. A little radius. As it should cut. If I do things right, it will cut nice and smooth. Because chances are we might sand it a little bit, but very little. So we'll go back the other way, doing the same thing. Nice little slicing cut. The little radius. On that end. I like them to be kind of big myself, because using it to drive the drive centers in like I do, they have a tendency to wear. And they get all boogered up. And they'll still have even up maybe a 16th of an inch down here. Even if I sand that little bit off, it's still going to leave me the center point. So I'll still be able to go back and remove those all those boogered up marks that will happen very quickly in use. I like my skew. I like my skew for this cut right here. To me, it's a kind of a cut that anybody can do. Pretty fast to remove a whole bunch of material quickly. only bad part of it is that you wear all the chips because they're all coming straight back. Gotcha. That's why you wear a face shield, so don't necessarily get too concerned about that. We'll switch to so I can get in there where I need to work because the pounding end is done. So you just need to be able to get in here a little closer to where our work's going to be. I also need to, even for me, that would be a little on the fat side. Flatten off the end a little bit. Little. Mm-hmm. I mean, still too big. Always pays to stop and put your fingers on it. Yeah, feel a little beefy, even for me. Let's go to an angle. I have pretty big hands, so Get rid of the razor blades out there. Give it a little bit less of a hump than what it had, and that should probably be good. Yeah, I like that. Fingers don't go the whole way around it, but doesn't really have to. Except when I stand back, I got a hump in here. Take care of that one. Oh, and set it into the corner. That should work. I think that'll do it. Do the trick. I don't really need a giant size bead down there. It's really more decorative than anything. You need to move the tool rest down a bit. Can't peel height to use your spindle gouge. This doesn't work very well for me. Too high. Now this back end will get in there nice and close to the light. Close on that end. One more feel. Feels fine to me. Nothing fancy, for sure. Doesn't need to be. The shop tool really probably wouldn't have to be seated, but we're going to a little bit. Just a little bit of 220, that's as far as we're going with that. About to put some beeswax on that as well. Question is, give me one short second. I was thinking I had a block of pure beeswax over here. I gotta go into my toolbox to get it. Let's get in the toolbox. I'll be right back. This will be pure beeswax, no mineral oil or any of that other good stuff in it. Doesn't show up real well on the ash. It'll seal it up good. Takes a lot more pressure to get it to go on. Doesn't really take any more pressure there to melt it. As you can see, you get a nice shiny melt line going on. Really didn't necessarily need to go down over the end there though. I do want to take that little lump off the end of it. Silky smooth now. That's kind of the neat part of the beeswax. I mean, it only sanded at 220. You didn't even sand with the grain anywhere, and it sort of just hides all the scratches. Just rub my hand over to make sure I have no places that are still sticky. A couple of spots there that were sort of semi-sticky. It's pretty much a done, complete project. Let's put a little little disc sander in there. Mark that center a little deeper on that end and that end. So that in a year from now when I need to redo this face, I still have the two center points. And then just put it back between centers and turn the head part of it down a bit. Because I have a tendency that it sort of chips them up a little bit. So if I don't do it, then you gotta try and find the centers and then you generally end up with having to turn more material off of it than what you needed to or wanted to. I got that little mark. This is what I wanted it to do. Could have used a smaller drive center. That would have made this a little quicker and easier. It also helped sandpaper is a little bit sharper, a little less clogged up even. Use the old trusty rubber stick on it. Almost all the time when I'm using this little disc sander like this, it's almost always on end grain, so it's kind of a little rough on it. Yeah, it's seen its better days. No, not to mention this 220. I had something a lot coarser than that on there. Like a piece of 180. But good enough. Since really all I'm after. It's not a certainly not a showpiece. Not a showpiece, but it's sort of a to me it's a bit of a necessity in the shop. Because now I'm ready to drive in some live centers or drive centers rather. Certainly not fancy, but we're not making it to be fancy. So that works. We salvaged that lid, so I don't need to go back to that. It's 10 minutes of 8. We might as well call it a day, I think. Although we do have another little blank of cherry marked up. So we'll make it another skew project. This time, instead of going back over the grinder, because I'm lazy, I will hone the skew a little bit, just on that, in between going back to the grinder. Of course, if I don't get the sharp edge that I want, then I'll just go back over and touch it up. Because we bought a 3D printer. I did find some little setup blocks for the grinder and printed them. I sort of want to make my own design so that I could share it with other people. You're a little bit, you're a little older than I am. How you doing tonight? And happy birthday, Al. Have a good New Year's. Oh, we're doing all right. Can't complain. Nobody listens anyhow, so just kind of fiddling around making some little piddly stuff. Making some honey dippers that I really don't know. Don't know whether there's actually some real scientific designs out here for them. It's kind of like on my own thing in a way. Get rid of this is all going to go down a whole lot more, but might as well get it out of the road, and then we'll concentrate on the dipper part, so to speak, I guess. Round it over a bit. I should have do that. Should have measured it first. Oh man, I'm getting good on this 2-inch thing. So if we go to center points 1, I like when the math is simple. I don't like that curve of that, but a more gentle curve than what I got. You can make it right. A little torpedo looking shape maybe. Always got to have room to move. Get down in them corners like that end. This end of diameter needs to go down. I've been at this about 18 years. And yes, it does take a bit of practice, especially to use this. A very good tool to learn to use. Takes a whole lot of patience. Because it is not very forgiving. Yeah, I've been at it a while. Just a hobby, basically a hobby. I do teach classes at my local woodcraft store, but um, I definitely didn't try to make a living at it. Kind of enough of a challenge just to I do try and sell some of this stuff. We're now actually going to be in a second market in another a little over a week from now. So that probably will mean having to make a little bit more stuff than what I do. Something on Twitch. Don't remember what that sound is. I think that's good enough. Wonder if this would make it easier if I actually mark them. So we did every quarter. No. Now I'm trying to be too particular. Just mark where the V grooves are going to go on all of them. No. No. I have a daughter. She has no interest in this stuff. I'll just go back and run the V down more so on one side than the other. I'm in central Pennsylvania. That last one. That's what I did. I think I made them into little beads. I guess. Too old to have dreams anymore. I don't know. 64. 64. Okay. Never. I think we're just going to call that good enough. I think we'll just cut it off straight. Give it a bit of a sand. Good enough. Take the end down a little bit more. And put some beeswax on it and call it a day. Let's do it. Challenge is to find a small enough edge to get into them little grooves. It will melt the wax into the pores of the wood. Protect it. That's where you should have some fingernails to get in there. Maybe a little less thickness on the paper towel. Gives it a little color. More importantly, gives it, oops, dump of wax on the end. Can't have that. Not really. Work hard and save your money. That's the best advice I can give you. You might want to retire someday. So a little bit of sanding with this sander, and this will be done. Cut the end off. The utilitarian piece, it doesn't need to be anything spectacularly fancy, for sure. I don't know about that, but pretty simple project. Is that all? What's that? A little beeswax on the end. Use the soft beeswax this time. It's got mineral oil in it, so it'll allow me to just put a little bit on the ends. The best standing machine you have in your shop, if you have a lathe. And you can make, well, that's in a drill chuck, just a little 2-inch disc. You can put whatever size disc you have in there. The better one to do would be either use a faith plate, or in my case, I have a drill or a tap to actually tap that size threads and make a, let's see what I have, 8-inch and probably 12 or 14-inch sander. There's our little honey dipper. That's two dippers and a dip. I'm just about done. Actually, I am done, really. But thanks for stopping by. We're here every Sunday night at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Other than that, that's the projects from the night. A mallet to drive centers in. Honey dipper in a jar. Yeah, thank you. Probably should have put a little bead on the end of this one, but it's the end of the night for me, so I'll make some more. Thank you. It has a plastic lid. You buy these at I think I got that at the grocery store as well as the plastic lid. It's not glued in yet, but I reamed out a hole to fit the lid and then drilled a hole up through it. Yeah, that's what it looks like. This just slides out. I'll probably put some epoxy in there and glue the whole thing together with epoxy. Thank you. Somewhere along the line, I saw somebody do that, mainly the jar lids, and I'm like, well, why not have a jar with honey in it? That would keep the mess contained. You undo the lid, put your honey in, put it back in. To me, it should be less messy, but Who knows? We'll see. See if somebody's willing to start a couple dollars and purchase something like that, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, otherwise, that's pretty much a wrap for me. I will, like I say, I'll be back here at 6 o'clock. Generally, for the most part, I'm here at 6 o'clock every Sunday evening, Eastern time, Eastern U.S. time, put it that way. Um, Till then, yeah, if nobody has any other questions or comments, I'm going to call it a night and go get me a cold beverage and relax for the rest of the evening. Yeah, 10 a.m. Well, you should be at work by now then. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You should, yeah, okay. You shut down for Christmas? Yeah, sort of. Yeah, support me in giving me more work. Right, yeah. Well, I'm retired, so, but yeah, that's lots of companies do that. Yeah. Well, have a good night, all. We'll see you next time.